All right. Hello, everybody. We are the 406 Boys, and I'm here with Eric from Beer Thaler Studios, and it is his birthday.
Yes, it is. Today is mine, and yesterday was Travis's birthday.
Yesterday was my birthday.
So pretty much we figured, hey, why not do a live stream and celebrate both of our birthdays?
So, Eric, do you have any plans on your birthday?
On Sunday, me and my family are gonna go out to dinner. We're gonna celebrate my dad's birthday and mine. My dad's birthday is on the 16th, and just by coincidence, the 16th is also the birthday of my dog.
Okay.
Which is one of the reasons why that I got Simba, because he was born on the 16th of December. That's also my dad's birthday. And, just knowing that is just so close to my birthday. So yeah, one of the things that I asked for my birthday or Christmas, since that my birthday is so close to Christmas, I had the Universal Monster movies on DVD, but not on Blu-ray. And I saw that on Amazon, there's like this big box set of all the Universal Monster movies. I asked for that.
Hey, Tony Montana.
Hey, Tony Montana. How's it going? I was just about to post the link for people to watch on my channel. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get that as a birthday gift. So.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, it's because all the DVDs I've had them for nearly 20 years. There were those DVD box sets of like Frankenstein, Dracula, and so forth. They were made because of Van Helsing was coming out at that time, and it was like a promotion tie-in. Yeah. And Van Helsing came out almost 20 years ago, so that shows you just how old my DVDs are.
Yeah.
Wow, that was nearly 20 years ago. Isn't that insane?
That's crazy.
It came out nearly that long ago now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Did you two see Van Helsing when it first came out?
I didn't. No.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that I saw that in theaters with my dad, and it's pretty surprising that he went to go watch that. But
Tony Montana says happy birthday.
Thank you, Tony Montana. But yeah, I can't believe 2004 was nearly 20 years ago now.
And I saw this poster that made me actually cry a tear yesterday that said, it showed a picture of Scarface that was movies that I think is 20 years old. And then it showed a picture of the first Fast and Furious movie, and it said movies that are actually 20 years old.
Yeah.
I'm like, that actually makes me really sad.
It is, knowing that the Fast and the Furious, the original, came out in 2001, and that was over 20 years ago. And it's so weird to go back and watch it now because Vin Diesel and everybody in the movie looks so much younger, and it makes me feel old.
And the fact that in reality, Scarface is actually like a 40-year-old movie.
Wow, that's crazy. And what makes me feel old is that knowing that movies that came out in 2003, knowing that people who were born then are soon going to be old enough to legally buy, is soon going to be able to legally buy alcohol. That makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yep.
That is so insane. But yeah, what all do you two remember about 2004? Because that was almost 20 years ago.
Let's see, 2004. What do I remember about 2004?
I know that was the year that I was going into middle school, and I specifically remember don't know what movies I might have seen at that time. I do know that's when I started my annual theater camp that I went to. In fact, this summer they celebrated my 20th consecutive year going there.
Wow.
Started out as a student, and I am now an assistant instructor.
Wow.
Yep. 2004. Let's see. I know that's when I'm trying to think what happened in 2004. That's probably when about when oh, you know what?
What?
I didn't watch it back then, but that's when Friends ended.
It was actually it's because that it started in 1994, and then for the 10th
Yeah.
anniversary, they decided to end it. I'm guessing they thought to end it because they were running out of ideas for stories and
Well, yeah, and they ended on a pretty good note. I feel like they chose a good spot to end it.
right,
So,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And on top of that, probably the people in the cast were wanting to move on, especially with like Jennifer Aniston's career was really starting to take off at that time.
Jennifer Aniston and Courtney
Courtney Cox,
Cox really were the two that really started to flourish because Courtney Cox got her big role in Scream, which I mean that's a given because she got her big role in Scream as Gale Weathers.
Yeah, and yeah, and it wasn't just her like who got her big break because of that. Pretty much everybody in the cast who was an unknown at that time pretty much became famous because of that.
And also her then husband was on Friends as well. So
You're talking about Courtney Cox, right?
yeah.
Yeah. You're talking about David Arquette.
Mm-hmm. He was on a couple episodes of Friends.
And which character did he play?
He played the stalker of Phoebe's sister who then fell in love with Phoebe.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not surprised by the fact that David Arquette wasn't Friends, considering that him and Courtney Cox were married at that time.
Yeah, but I don't even. They're not together anymore, are they?
They're not. From my understanding, they got a divorce around when Scream 4 was being made.
I thought. Yeah.
I don't know why they got a divorce. I mean, all I can say is that I just hope that they're on good terms.
That's one of the things I've always appreciated that she's at least still in the movies is Courtney Cox. I've always really liked her Gale Weathers character and the way they've changed, or not really changed, but like developed her character in the movies.
Oh yeah.
Like she's become stronger, I feel like.
Oh, definitely. I believe that her and Roger Jackson, who was the voice of Ghostface in all the movies, I believe that those two are the only actors to have appeared in every single film.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Now, of course, all of us know that Neve Campbell was supposed to come back for Scream 6, but they just didn't want to pay her.
As for the Scream films, an underrated Scream film, I feel like not a lot of people talk about Scream 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because Scream 3 actually wasn't a bad Here's the thing, there's not a bad Scream movie. That's one thing I will say about the Scream movies. There's not a bad Scream movie. I don't think there's one Scream movie that I can say is bad. I think they're just different in their own rights. But the third one is just different. But here's the thing. It's underappreciated.
Oh, it is, yeah.
It's not talked about as much as the other ones.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And a lot of fans seem to agree that Scream 3 has one of the best ghost faces. And I believe Scream 3 I haven't seen it in over 10 years, so my memory's pretty vague. I think that that's the only one like where there is only one Ghostface in it. And from what I heard, when they were making Scream 3 at that time, like just the year before the Columbine shooting happened, and so then therefore a lot of movies and video games had to tone down their violence. And unfortunately, Scream 3 was one of them. And so Scream 3, from what I've heard, it tends to be one of like the more comedic movies. And I think that you could probably blame the Columbine shooting on that. So
Yeah, and that's correct. Friends did last for approximately a decade. Yeah. And I think they might have done that on purpose because each season was about like in the span of a year. So they released a season in a year about. So like 1994 they would release a season, 1995 they would release a season, 96 a season. They did it like that. So
yeah, and I believe in 2021 they did like a Friends reunion. I don't know.
and I watched that the first day it came out.
So like for the reunion, like, is it about like like is there actually like a plot to it, or?
So what it is they bring all the original cast back together to the original set and stuff, and they reminisce about things and memories, and they go back about like fun times that they had and stuff like that. They basically have a reunion on set and stuff like that.
Nice.
They go through like clips and stuff, like basically like a clip show. And then they go, this is the part I didn't like. They go through an interview with all 6 cast members. The interviewer was James Corden, which I don't personally care for James Corden that much, but it's okay because he was actually professional during it. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
I won't say too much, but he was professional during it, I will say. That's what they did though, is he asked them questions about the show. They answered stuff like that. So yeah.
Awesome.
That's what they did, yeah.
So it sounds like it's more of like a talk show.
Yeah, and the reunion part is the friends coming together on set and reminiscing about memories and stuff like that. So,
and little did we know that would be the last time that we would see the original cast be all reunited until this year, when unfortunately Matthew Perry died.
yeah.
I have a feeling, even though it's not confirmed, I have a feeling that they're gonna do like another reunion, like in memory of him.
Yeah, true.
I have a feeling that they probably will.
If you go on Max and go to watch the very first episode of Friends now, before you watch it, it'll pop up with the thing that says R.I.P. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry, before the first episode.
Awesome.
So that's nice.
But what about the Friends plot hole?
Yeah.
How could they afford a large apartment? They never explain it. Yeah, they do.
They explain it like twice.
In the first and last episode.
Yeah.
So basically, it would be like going back to your guys' video, like where you made that video about plot holes that people say are plot holes but actually aren't.
Yeah. So like they explain it twice in 2 different episodes. So yeah. But, yeah, and then they're yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think about them remaking Harry Potter into a series?
Yeah, I heard about that. Business-wise, I'm not surprised that they're doing it because Harry Potter is a really big name franchise. I just don't know if mainstream audiences are going to accept an entirely new cast, because Didn't they try that with Lord of the Rings, and didn't that bomb?
Basically, it was a prequel series to The Lord of the Rings, and a lot of Tolkien fans did not like it.
Yeah.
Mainly because of the fact that they had to retcon the lore to basically fit the story that they wanted to tell. And yeah, basically things that were established in the movies and the books, they basically had to rearrange some stuff to force things to fit, and that did not go well with J.R.R. Tolkien fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that I have a problem with is I don't have a problem with them redoing it. The only problem I have is the cast for Harry Potter is so perfect.
It is.
That I know they're gonna recast it and everything. And that's just the only problem I have is that the cast for the original movies were so perfect. And I know this new series is going more based off of the book. So like they're gonna make Ron more based on Ron in the book. They're gonna make Hermione based on Hermione in the book, which is completely different from the movie.
And I know that that each season is going to be based on each book, and they're going to stick it closer to the books.
Yeah. But I did hear one option that someone had should play Severus Snape.
Who?
Adam Driver.
I can see that.
I could strangely see it.
Can't wait for the boycotts on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as my understanding goes, usually TV shows don't have as big of a budget as movies do. The only exception was the Lord of the Rings series they had. So I imagine probably the Harry Potter one probably will have a bigger budget because you kind of have to with all of like the, the special effects with the wands and all the creatures and the set. So yeah, probably will have at least a budget close enough to the Lord of the Rings series. So I'm just curious if they're going to have the John Williams music, because to me, it would just be really weird to have Harry Potter without that song. It would be it would be like having Jaws without that iconic theme song, also by John Williams, just by coincidence. So yeah, I totally get it that they want to have it be more based off of the books, because from what I heard now, and I could be wrong, I believe out of all the Harry Potter movies, that drifted away from the books the most was the third one. And wasn't the third one The Prisoner of Azkaban?
Yes.
And wasn't that the one like that drifted the most away from the book?
Not 100% sure. I know of friends that read the books and haven't heard anyone talk about it, and I'm not 100% sure about it.
Okay. But yeah, even though that it will be more faithful to the books, I mean, oftentimes like that, there are going to be changes there are going to be changes like that are going to happen regardless.
Because I do know that Disney Plus is doing that Percy Jackson series, where again going to be more closer to the books, and that the author of the book series is going to be more involved with the making of it, because the movies for sure, other than a few key points, completely changed the outcome of the books that were made.
Yeah.
And I've read the Percy Jackson books. I have heard of the character. I know that they made movies about it. So I really have no bias either way. But sometimes though, when you're making a movie based off a book, sometimes with some circumstances on set, you have to make changes. Case in point, when they made Jaws, for those who don't know, Jaws was based off of a book before it was a movie. And in the Jaws book, when I got to the part where Matt Hooper got into the cage and when the shark attacked the cage, at that moment in the book, Hooper actually was killed by the shark. When they're making the movie, it was supposed to be that way too. But so what happened was that they wanted the shark to look bigger than it actually was. So what they did was that they found a miniature person in like a miniature cage just to make the shark look bigger. And then the cage like was just floating there, and then a great white shark happened to have been nearby. Luckily, they did record it, but the shark actually got its nose caught in the cage, and it was trying to get out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Great, we got the footage of a shark attacking the cage, but no one's in the cage." And so, because of that, they had no choice, but they had to change it.
Yeah, and there are some cases where that is definitely the case, but then there's sometimes where some people make a change and don't necessarily understand what they're even doing.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Case in point, from my understanding, in the Percy Jackson, the main MacGuffin is that our protagonist is accused of stealing Zeus's lightning bolt, and because Zeus and Poseidon don't get along with each other, he accuses him of being the one that stole his son of stealing it so that he can take it for himself. So Hades, basically being one of the people that says, bring the lightning bolt or whatever, and I will release your mother from the underworld or whatever.
Okay.
Here's where the change happens. In the movie, the runner of this camp says, don't go on this journey because of such and such. In the movie, on the other hand, or in the book, it's actually encouraged to go on this quest or whatever, because basically the whole thing about Greek legends is about the quest to essentially prove themselves, essentially. Where in the movie, they wanted to replicate the Harry Potter thing and say, no, you shouldn't be doing this or whatever. While I can understand it from sort of a perspective of wanting to add conflict or whatever, there are sometimes where things are written for specific purposes, and sometimes the wrong person gets the wrong idea and will think they're making the good change when in fact they're making the completely wrong decision.
Yeah, like case in point, and now I certainly do agree with you. Case in point, when they did the Lion King remake, in the original, like the whole moral of the story is perfectly summarized by Rafiki when he says, yes, the past can hurt, but either can learn from it or you can run from it. The whole moral of the movie perfectly summarized, and in the remake they cut that. I'm like, when he did that change, like it completely hurts what made the Lion King work.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll go. There's one that has the biggest one of that one also is one change with one mate. Well, there's many changes, but one infamous one was actually from the Mulan remake. The biggest one being that they completely cut the character of Shang from mainly because their honest reasoning for it was in response to the Me Too movement, because they felt that an officer basically having some sort of an attraction toward a soldier was completely unprofessional. But by doing so, what they didn't know was that the character Shane was seen as a bisexual icon, because it's a little bit of a stretch, but basically he was feeling for Mulan when she was dressed as a boy, and basically people in the LGBT community actually saw him as sort of an icon, and by taking Shane away, that pissed them off.
Yeah.
So essentially, they wanted to play the whole social justice war is like, yeah, we're on your side, but at the same time pissing off another group rather than just leaving it alone.
Yep. And from what I heard, the other big change they made was not having Mushu, because understanding the reason why they cut out Mushu was because that dragons are seen as very sacred in China, and then they were really wanting it to appeal to the Chinese market, and so that's why they cut out Mushu. And so rather than having Mushu, they had the Phoenix. But what I find interesting is that they said they're trying to make it more realistic, as far as what I've heard. But yet Mulan doing all these impossible stunts and a Phoenix is realistic.
And Phoenixes are not really a thing in China really either.
So where are Phoenixes more of a...
It's more of a European thing.
Okay.
And the biggest thing also is the fact that Mulan never has to work for anything in the movie. She is naturally given superpowers from the beginning. And so her character arc in the live action movie is pointless.
Yeah.
She's really achieved that goal.
Exactly, yeah.
It's kind of like the whole One Punch Man or whatever, but One Punch Man, that was largely the joke, is when you get to that superpower, basically when you become uber powerful or whatever, what then? And that one is played it, and that is largely, at least with One Punch Man, that's the joke. Is that nothing can stand in his way, and he's bored with everything now.
And one other change that a lot of people took issue with is that none of the songs are in it. Now, I heard the Reflection is in the movie, but more so as an instrumental,
yes,
orchestra cover.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I thought so. So yeah, a lot of people took issue with that, and people were saying that, oh, this one's going to be good is because this time it's going to be different. It's not a beat for beat remake. Now, Brandon, I will give them that. At least it's not a beat for beat remake, but yet it still misses what made the original good, by taking away her character arc and yeah, so yeah.
My favorite thing is when they actually shot some of the scenes at a Chinese concentration camp.
I heard about that. And from what I heard, when the movie was released, ironically enough, they were trying so hard to make it appeal to China, but yet China still got pissed at them.
China didn't, or it bombed in China, ironically.
That is hilarious. I mean, of course, on a business perspective, it sucks that it bombed. It's because it means they lost money.
Yep.
But you gotta admit, that is pretty ironic, knowing that they put all this hard work into having it appeal to China, but it bombed. I mean, to be fair, Mulan did come out in 2020, which was, the year of COVID. So that could probably...
Yes, I think the movie could have done better if it wasn't that way. I think the movie still would have made money if it wasn't for that. And
probably.
And I think Disney scrambled a little bit and decided they wanted to put the $30 price tag on Disney Plus. No one wanted to do it. They all decided, just wait for a few months and we can watch it for free.
Yep. And now, granted, I do get why they had that $30 fee. It's because that they invested so much money into getting the movie made that they're trying to make their profit back. It just sounds like it was really bad timing.
I'd like to make an announcement.
What is it?
Travis and I are at 95 subscribers.
Yes! Yes! Just 5 more away from reaching 100. And since that I posted about this live stream on my channel, I mean, I can definitely see that Tony's here. So because of that, Tony's probably subscribed to you, and probably a lot of my other subscribers probably will. Excuse me. They probably will.
Since I went to bed last night, we gained 4, so
nice.
Yeah, so
awesome, man.
I posted another short right before I went to bed last night, and it has like 1,400 views. So
That's good.
Damn. But yeah, doing those shorts definitely has helped.
Yeah, definitely.
That's amazing, man.
Do you have any other plans for your birthday?
Tomorrow I'm gonna hang out with my friend Courtney.
Okay.
Other than that, and meeting up with my family for dinner on Sunday, that's pretty much it.
Oh, nice. Do you have any plans with Simba?
Yes, I might take you to the doggy park. Oh, funny how as soon as I say that, Simba's like, oh, doggy park? I might get you a doggy bone for your birthday, Simmy. But yeah, what about I just forgot? Oh yeah, so you probably saw on Facebook that this year I got cast in a movie.
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm gonna go over to the director's house on Tuesday. I'm finally gonna actually see the movie, and then he's gonna give me a DVD copy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I am so excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, because I've been waiting so long to actually see the movie itself.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and I finally put up my Christmas tree and might do some Christmas shopping and oh yeah, and then Friday I have a schedule that I'm gonna interview Nikolai Leon, who played Christopher Robin in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So
nice.
So yeah, so that will be cool. And other than that, that's pretty much it.
Nice.
But yeah,
yeah, we have planned for next year. We were talking to you about our podcast.
Awesome. So it sounds like that. It sounds like that this podcast is going to be very similar to Junebug's sit down.
Yeah,
right?
Similar. Yeah, and we were thinking that you would hopefully be our second guest.
Well, I certainly would be very, very honored about that. And who's your first guest?
Our Film Harpy.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Have you thought about who else that you would? Oh yeah, so funny you say that. Oh yeah, so every year on my birthday, I will have one birthday dinner with family and one with friends. You know, it just makes it fair.
Yeah.
Just so that way that my friends can have their time with me and my family can as well. But yeah, every year on my birthday, I do have a birthday dinner at my favorite restaurant. Hoo-ha. I haven't planned on what day yet. Probably will be next week, since Friday I'm just going to be way, way too busy, and even on the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably sometime this upcoming week.
Okay. It's always nice to like have a birthday dinner with your family and friends because
oh yeah,
split it up. You don't want to have friends and family together because you don't know how your friends are gonna act or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. And so that's why I feel like that it would be better just to have one with family and then one with friends. So
yeah, exactly.
I think usually my mother especially is cool with some of our friends because basically she's seen everything.
Can you imagine if my friends had dinner with our family though?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
No.
But I know my theater friends
Yeah.
pretty much are pretty tame. I think my grandmother would be one of those ones like, oh, you heathens.
We have two videos premiering today.
Oh yeah.
One of them is your autograph one, right?
Yep. And then the other one is our second day of 12 days of 406 Boys.
Awesome.
Which is our 10 best Christmas movies.
Awesome.
So
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's 10 best Christmas movies in no particular order. And
Jimmy. You see me?
One of them you know very well. I'll just say that.
One of them I know is going to be on your channel.
One of them you know very well.
Who's going to be a guest on your channel?
No, one of them you know very well, the movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I know what it is. Am I allowed to say?
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
Okay. I think one of them is the Grinch with Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought so, yeah. Yeah.
It's just one of those ones that we remember seeing as kids that is just like a classic.
I saw that in the 2nd grade, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I first saw that when it came out when I was like 8 years old, and I loved it. I laughed so hard at the theater.
And then I actually remember when we begged our parents to see Cat in the Hat before we knew any better.
Yeah.
Oof.
That church I'm not going.
Yeah.
That church I'm not going.
I think my favorite trivia is the fact that when he pulled the rag from the table, everything was supposed to fall off, but he just pulled it so perfectly that everything was left on there.
Yeah. And so then that shot of him walking back and then just pushing it all off, that was not intended.
Yeah, I don't think you could have picked anybody more perfect for that role.
The thing is, if I was in that position and I saw that happen, it's like, that's the shot that's going in the movie.
Let's go.
That's just so out of the ordinary and weird that it has to be in.
I honestly really don't think you could have picked anybody better for that role, though.
Yeah, and interesting you say that because according to IMDb, make of it what you will, one of the original choices was Jack Nicholson.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting choice. He has the face for it, but Jim Carrey really was perfect because from what I heard, that suit was miserable to work in. I mean, it was so miserable that Jim Carrey actually almost quit making the movie. Yeah. So what happened was that Brian Grazer happens to know somebody like who taught military, like to teach people how to put up with torture.
Yeah.
So then Brian Grazer asked that friend of his to help out Jim Carrey deal with being in that suit and makeup.
Okay.
So yeah, Jim Carrey had to go through torture like to being in that makeup and suit, and because Jim Carrey is so physical,
yeah,
it really was perfect, like for him to be in that suit. And then when you watch Mike Myers, who is not really like the physical comedian, while when Jim Carrey is, you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Myers is not necessarily a physical actor. And the funny story I always like to tell people is the fact that Mike Myers was legally obligated to do that, or else he was going to get sued for like $10 million.
Why would he be sued for not doing it?
Okay, I'll tell you what happened. So, Mike Myers wrote a script based on a character that he did on Saturday Night Live. I think it was The Outsiders. I think it's what it was. I forget the name of it. But point is, wanted to make that into a movie, And because of Mike Myers' intention of being a perfectionist, he turned down the $10 million to make the movie or whatever because he felt that the script wasn't good, even though he was one of the people that wrote the script. And what happened was that essentially Universal spent $10 million to make this movie, and then they wrote the script, and all of a sudden Mike Myers was like, never mind, I don't like it, and was just willing to walk away. And Universal was pissed because they essentially threw $10 million for a project that last second is like, nope, I don't want to do it anymore. So they were threatening legal actions to Mike and said, okay, the only way that you're going to get out of this is if you go and be the cat in the Cat in the Hat or whatever, and the money that you make from that is going to go to us or whatever, because of the money that you lost us. And if you don't do that, we will not only sue you, but you could potentially face jail time. So Mike Myers, though he didn't want to do it, he realized it was better than not being sued, so he took the role.
That's interesting. So, yeah, I had no idea that he legally had to do it. I mean, I can definitely understand why Universal would be pissed, because $10 million, that's a lot of money, especially to have that go to waste.
And the thing is, they only gave it to him because they figured that he would deliver on that. And Mike Myers, usually being someone who's difficult to work with and very unpredictable, Universal didn't know he was going to do this. And when he did it, he wasn't going to think of anything like, let's do a rewrite, let's do something different or whatever. He was just going to walk away with no way of basically of making back the money. He was just going to be like, hey, thanks for the money. I'm kind of bored with this project now. And so he's like, oh, no. You're not just going to walk away after you just wasted our money. You're going to do this for us.
Yep. I could definitely understand why Universal did what they did against him. And funnily enough, the Cat in the Hat, well, I believe it was a hit, but it was nowhere near as big of a hit as The Grinch was. And critically, it completely flopped. Like, people hated it so much that Dr. Seuss's widow hated it so much, like that she said, okay, there will be no more live action adaptations of Dr. Seuss's books. So that's why all the adaptations afterwards were not live action. And that's why they were all animated.
Yeah. Hey, Eric.
Yeah. You see me? You see me? Hey, I will be right back.
All right. What's all your guys' favorite scary movie? Yeah, I don't know. That Cat in the Hat movie is pretty interesting.
That's not a scary movie. You haven't seen the movie then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember the lines from that stupid movie.
I don't know. Cat in the Hat's pretty fun to watch, though. What do you think?
No.
No. It's pretty entertaining.
Let me get this straight. You pay this woman to sit on babies? That's disgusting. Wow, this guy...
I think the problem with Cat in the Hat is Mike Myers was trying way too hard.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is Mike Myers was trying way too hard.
Mike Myers' main caricature is he plays someone that's trying and failing to be funny.
Yeah.
And it's fine with specific, like Austin Powers, I can see that working or whatever, because the point is that the puns that Bond makes is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And so to make someone think that they're completely funny, but completely biffing it, it somehow makes it funny.
Yeah.
But they have a line with the Cat in the Hat not being good at rhyming.
Yeah.
The most famous Dr. Seuss character not being good at rhyming.
Yeah, exactly. And like just overall, everything in that movie and the way they did that movie is just not good.
And thing 1 and thing 2 are my sleep paralysis demons. Those things are hideous.
Yeah, like what are those things?
Chocolate Thunder or Ben.
Yeah, what the heck?
Like, I also get the feeling that mostly I don't think there was really much of a script. They just allowed everyone just to say whatever they wanted. And it's like, well, best moments we're just going to put in the movie and hope for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
There's really no structure. With that one.
Exactly. Hey Travis, I got a question.
Huh.
Do you want to know what really pisses me off?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
All right. Just wondering. All right. People in the chat, what are some movies you guys don't like? I want to know from you guys. What are some movies you guys don't like?
Or maybe even movies that you liked back in the day, and then looking back, we're like, oh, that actually wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Because I remember
Either movies you don't like or movies you used to like and don't like now.
Because Cat in the Hat was one of the ones that as a kid I liked it, and a few years later, which was kind of fast for me, I was like, whoa, that one is bad. I don't know why I like that one. And so I just had to come to terms and tell my parents, who wanted to end themselves in the first 5 minutes, to go like, yeah, that wasn't really that good.
Hello.
Hey, so what all have I missed?
We were just talking more about Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, yeah, like that movie was universally panned. I mean, so much so that it's regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. And there are even some people like who usually point that at being one of the reasons for the downfall of Mike Myers.
Yeah.
I even specifically remember both my parents who had different reactions. My mother was like, told me that literally the entire time she was like, I want to die. I don't want to continue living after this. And I talked to my dad or whatever, and it's like, when did the movie start getting bad for you? Within maybe the first few minutes of the movie. What was the best part of the movie? When the end credits rolled.
Oh man! And one of the things that is so criticized about the movie is that there's that moment like where Mike Myers as the Cat in the Hat is literally promoting Universal Studios, and he's holding like up one of like the flyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's like, look, I get it, you want to promote your park, but doing it during the actual movie itself, you could have done it like
Yeah,
at
like
the end credits.
You mean at Universal Studios?
Oh god, that was bad.
Yep.
And I will never forget when the movie came out. I remember that my 4th grade teacher, because it came out when I was in the 4th grade, he was talking about all the bad reviews and how bad it was, and oh gosh. Now some of my friends at school thought it was funny with the movie, like during the part where he cuts off his tail, he's like, son of a. And that was one of the things that people complained about. It's like, yes, The Grinch with Jim Carrey, it did have some adult humor, but it was more subtle about it. With Cat in the Hat, though, it's one of the reasons why that Dr. Seuss's widow hated it so much was that the adult humor was not as subtle. It was more in your face. And knowing the fact that there's a scene where the Cat in the Hat says dirty hoe.
Yep.
I think that was the only joke that my mother latched on, that whole dirty hoe thing or whatever. And it was like, why that one? It's like, I needed something to laugh at.
No,
It wasn't that clever of a joke or whatever, but I needed something.
yeah, and I can see why people took huge issue with that, especially that there was some pretty much the Cat in the Hat's hat is supposed to obviously represent a boner, and people took huge issue with that.
Yeah.
So,
and just talking about how the things haunt my dreams at night. Thing 1 and Thing 2.
yeah, people said that the Who's in the Grinch looked creepy. Personally, I never did.
The Who's can look kind of. The Who's is, especially with their noses, kind of could look a little hideous. But those Thing 1 and Thing 2 look like they came out of Hellraiser. That's
so true.
I opened the mint configuration, and they're coming to punish me for everything that I've done.
That is so true. Oh my god, that is hilarious. And it's been a while since I read the book. From what I remember about the book is that the message of the book is that sometimes breaking rules is okay as long as it doesn't go too far.
Mm-hmm.
From what I heard about the movie, though, it completely changes the whole message of the movie. Now, people can say what they want about the Jim Carrey Grinch, but at least that the moral, from the book, at least they kept it for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Cat in the Hat, it's completely changed.
Yeah.
And what's odd, Paris Hilton even has a cameo in the Cat in the Hat. Paris Hilton. Yeah, there's that rave scene. It's does a rave scene really belong in the Cat in the Hat?
Especially since once they leave it, it's never brought up again. It just comes out of nowhere. It happens. It's gone. It's never mentioned again.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's extremely pointless.
At first, it seems that there is a point when says that he lost his hat, but then they're like, oh nope, I was just joshing you. I have my real hat, and it's like, okay, now that scene was completely pointless. Because I would have given the scene that much if they would have affected the plot, but it doesn't really.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was taught in film history this semester, usually Hollywood films, all these bigger budget mainstream Hollywood movies, they usually will be plot driven movies, and usually in plot driven movies, the plot continuously has to go forward with each and every scene.
Oh yeah.
And it's just so bizarre to me that in a big budget mainstream Hollywood movie that there's that rave scene and it doesn't push the plot forward when they're investing millions and millions of dollars into it, which is why the plot has to move forward in all of these big budget mainstream movies. So yeah, and so that right there completely blows my mind, that they're able to get away with that.
If anything, I think making a scene like that and not doing anything with it would waste more money, because you have a scene where you have to construct everything, pay a bunch of extras, and then you spend all that money and realize there was no reason to put it in the first place.
Yep. Spot on, man. Spot on. It's also like when Tommy Wiseau made The Room, that whole scene of that one guy explaining to us what we already saw. From what I read, that scene was so expensive, and people were telling Tommy, dude, for you to film this scene is so pointless because he's explained to us what we already saw.
Yep.
Which one are you talking about?
So there's that scene in the room, like where Lisa's friends come over and they're making out, and then
Oh, the guy that just comes in and is like, "You're going to destroy Johnny." He's very
no. I'm not talking about that guy. It's the guy who's talking about how Lisa's mom found his underwear.
Huh. Oh, yeah, I know exactly.
That's the scene I'm talking about.
Yeah. And the thing is, to a degree, I can sort of I get it to a point where it's like, well, the other characters don't know about it, and so they're kind of getting him up to speed, which would be fine. But as James Rolfe said when he was releasing his Snicks series or whatever, that there's got to be a way to kind of put that in without telling the audience something that they've already know and what they've already seen.
Exactly.
And the thing is, Wiseau, I think, is one of those guys that he feels that I always like to call it hand holding kind of writing, where it's like, okay, got to hold your hand the entire time. Make sure that you follow what's going on. You got it? Okay. And it's what I essentially, I used to do that or whatever, but then I realized that writing this or whatever, you're basically telling the audience they're stupid.
Yeah.
And you got to sort of trust that your audience will figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And the one person I think is really bad about this is M. Night Shyamalan. He feels the need, like, you are never left in the dark with any of his movies. Everything is explained to you to the T. And rather than, like, basically, he basically follows the number one rule in filmmaking: tell, don't show.
When movies are supposed to be a visual art, and yeah, when I took film history, I was told show, do not tell. Like, basically, if you can show it without using dialogue, go for it.
Mm-hmm. And I have let's see. I know we were told various rules when we filmed some of our shorts. One of the things that he said, or that our film professor did say, is that the number one thing he does not want to hear people saying in their shorts is, "As you know, blank." Because it's like, well, if they know, why are you telling them that?
Yeah.
And says that's kind of part of the hand-holding thing, because it's like they're putting it in because they want to make sure that the audience knows. Because in universe, why would anyone like say, "Now, Dylan, as you know, we're live streaming and talking to Eric because it is his birthday today"? No one would say that. That is just a way of a writer basically not trusting their audience enough, so they're trying to add the explanation, but make it sound like it's part of the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about the not trusting your audience, that was one of the mistakes that I made with my first movie, is like that during that first encounter with the CD, I was showing every detail of me starting my car and backing up and driving off. It's like, we don't need that. Like, we can already connect the dots about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that happened in the original cut of the movie, but then in all future cuts afterwards, I did fix that.
Mm-hmm.
So in your guys' opinion, people usually point to Cat in the Hat being the beginning of the downfall of Mike Myers. Would that be your guys' opinion?
I would say it is the beginning of it. Love Guru completely killed it.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Me and my brother went to go see that in theaters. We never laughed once. When we left the theater, we both agreed that was not a very good movie. And it's telling how afterwards you never saw Mike Myers as like the top billed actor. I know that he made a comeback in Bohemian Rhapsody, but when he was in it, he was virtually unrecognizable, and I had no idea that even was him until
I know.
pointed out.
Yeah, he's had a few supporting roles, like in that he was in one scene in Inglourious Bastards, and he was in a couple scenes and recently in that Amsterdam movie. But as term of top billed actor, never recovered.
We were talking about last night what our least favorite movies were. Well, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey came close to being my worst movie of all time. It's my second.
Oh.
It's my second worst. It didn't quite become my worst movie of all time.
What is your worst movie of all time?
Travis already knows what it is.
I know what it is.
I don't, so I'm curious. What is it?
You want to say it? You want me to say it?
We just talked about it.
The Cat in the Hat?
Nope.
More recent than that.
How recent? Like this year?
Like just a second ago.
We were just talking about the movie a second ago.
Okay.
You saw it?
The Love Guru.
I hate that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like
so for
when I saw that movie for the first time, I literally
that movie
when I got halfway through the movie for the first time, I literally shut it off and I stopped watching it because I couldn't continue watching it. I had to stop watching it. And then I had to force myself to continue watching it. And when I finished it, I'm like, that was the worst movie I have ever seen. And that sucks because I love Mike Myers and Austin Powers. And Austin Powers is one of my favorite like movie series. And I love the Austin Powers movies. But that was the worst movie I have ever seen.
It was like
I've never recovered from it. And there's one movie that makes me hate that movie even worse, and that's Disaster Movie.
Oh yeah,
because
that was
the ending scene in Disaster Movie. They have the Love Guru spoof in it, and that makes me hate the Love Guru even more.
I remember we were trying to do a commentary on it and doing something funny. We kept messing up the audio on that one, like it would either be too quiet or too loud. So I end up having to watch the movie 4, maybe 5 times in a row, just trying to make it funny or whatever. But the entire time I'm like, I want to die. This is not worth living anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all those spoof movies, like by Aaron,
Aaron, their names are hard to say, so they've been collectively known as Seltzerberg.
Yeah.
Nathan Freeberg and Aaron Seltzer.
Those guys, yeah. Those guys are notorious for making some of the worst spoof movies of all time. Like, Epic Movie was so bad that during that part where they have, like, that guy from, like, Anchorman who is supposed to play a lion, during that part where there's that kung fu fight
scene,
you can obviously tell that it's a stunt double because it's like a muscular, like Asian guy.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, in the right context, I think that stunt. I think that is supposed to be the joke, but I think the stunt double gag could work. But one, they overuse the joke at the point where it's more predictable, and if something is predictable, it's not funny. And
you notice Kevin Hart's in the movie?
Yeah, Kevin Hart is in the movie.
He is. I forgot about that.
But he's uncredited.
Yeah. And how about one of my least favorite movies of theirs that I hate is Super Fast.
Super Fast was.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish that one.
But
the one I am never gonna forgive you for is Meet the Spartans. that one, Vampire Sex is another one, but
I remember I forced Travis to go see that one,
and that is why I have never forgiven you for Meet the Spartans, because I remember my mother wanted me to go because it was rated PG-13 and he wasn't 13 yet, and so I had to go with him, and the entire time I hated it. I legit did not want to. Like, basically, I almost never walk out of movies. This one came the closest where I was like, I want to leave. I don't want to finish this.
Leave Britney alone.
I remember when that video went viral, but yeah, the movie was pretty bad too. I saw that in theaters with my friends. There was that moment that goes on way too long of that cat just taking a shit. It's like,
yeah.
I remember seeing that in theater, cringing at that. Like, what the fuck am I watching?
And how about the Bachelor or whatever scene or whatever? He's like
where he shoots all the other ones,
it's like, or whatever.
And it's like, as a standalone sketch, that could be funny, but that's more of a, hey, this thing is popular, let's throw it in. And the common thing I hear most often in defense is these movies are meant to be stupid because they're parodies. Just because they're parody doesn't mean you have to make them stupid.
Yeah, have a movie like an actual good parody, like the old parodies, like The Naked Gun or like Scary Movie, or
where it's joking about the cliches about the genre. Here, these movies are mostly, hey, that's popular. Okay, what's the joke? The reference in itself is the joke.
It's popular, like say
gross out humor.
Yeah, Scary Movie 1, 2, and 3, and the Naked Gun movies do it perfectly. So, I mean,
yeah, and I feel like that those terrible spoof movies, I feel like that it helped to contribute, like, to spoof movies being like a dying breed.
And it's like in disaster movies, they do mention one movie where it's like, oh my gosh, a movie where it's not current.
Oh yeah, where all of a sudden Scarface makes an appearance or whatever. It's like, oh my god, a movie that is not from 2007 referenced.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's ultimately a shame, because I wanted to make sort of a parody of like those 1950s type movies or whatever, kind of Mel Brooks style humor or whatever, where take like sort of an Invasion of the Body Snatchers type story or whatever.
Yeah.
But kind of but kind of basically making it kind of a love letter to like the Ed Wood type movies or whatever, kind of make it in that style. But subvert like the roles that would have been played, like the guy who would be the hero is a guy that like say someone who is so incompetent or whatever that essentially like his dad basically bought his way through school type deal.
There is one character in disaster movies that I hated the most, though.
Not all of them?
Well, all of them, but one more than the rest.
The princess.
No.
Which one? The chipmunks?
Juno.
Oh, the Juno one.
I hated her so much. She was so annoying just because they over-exaggerated how she talked in the actual Juno movie.
And the thing is,
Juno's not even a disaster movie, so...
They over-exaggerated how Juno talked in the actual Juno movie so much.
And also the biggest thing is when they put in things like Superbad in that, where it's like, how do you make a parody of something that was already meant to be funny in the first place?
Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand about these stupid Soderbergh parody movies. They parody comedies.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
That is...
Like, you can parody a comedy, that's fine. But do it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Essentially, their whole thing is, oh, Superbad is popular. Let's just put it in this one. And the reference
just because
Superbad existing, that's the joke.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, I remember in Epic Movie, there's this random, like, joke about the show Punk'd. It would have been better if it actually was Ashton Kutcher, but you can obviously tell it's not. is just so random and out of place. It's like, what's the point? And they even would, like an epic movie, they would parody movies that are in no way supposed to be epic, grand in scale.
Mm-hmm.
And even for disaster movie, they would, you would think it's like a parody of like disaster movies, like say The Day After Tomorrow and all that. But Judo,
I think that they basically confused epic with blockbuster hits.
Yep.
You know what? The best part of epic movie was though.
What?
Stifler's mom.
Oh, when she played the white bitch.
She's the best part of that. She's the best part of that movie. That's the only good part of that movie.
That is such a
and they even reference that in that movie. She's like, "Whoa, it's Stifler's mom,"
and
they even mention it in the movie.
But the one thing I hated the most were the random dance breaks that would happen.
Yeah,
because
my God.
They would just go on and on. Like Meet the Spartans. I actually left to go and leave the bathroom because I knew these scenes were going to go on for a while. I came back from the bathroom. The scene was still going. And I was like, this is torture. I regret every decision I've ever made. This is never going to end. And with Meet the Spartans, I even remember the one joke that they hammered in over and over again. The homoeroticism from 300, which would be fine at first, but then they keep doing it, and they keep doing it at the point where it's like something that wasn't even that funny. They drag it so far into the ground, it's in hell, essentially.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like those spoof movies were terrible, and from as far as I can tell, they're not being made anymore. I mean, those movies aren't even getting released to mainstream theaters anymore. I know that they did one about the Hunger Games called the Starving Games.
I saw that one on YouTube, and that was one where it's like, this is awful. This is just awful. There was only one joke that I didn't laugh at the joke, but there was one where it's like I thought the joke was fine just because the timing was off. Where as everyone is getting ready for the reaping ceremony, the crew from Harry Potter came by and they said, and someone came by and it's like moving them aside and said, "Your franchise is done. There's a new franchise now."
But by the way, Eric, I was wrong. It's 7 years ago today that we got Cooper.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I only know that because a Facebook memory popped up that we got Cooper today. So.
Mine.
Hi, Timba.
Oh yeah, and he didn't know the concept of bedtime, so he kept.
Yeah, so for the first 3 nights when we got Cooper, he kept Travis and I up. So the only way he would sleep is if he was in bed with either me or Travis.
Yeah, I just randomly had that memory come back of when we filmed like the infamous "Kiss My Talent" scene. Travis was down, and we were not expecting it that Simba was gonna come up to Travis and then lick his face. And so that moment, when Travis screams, that was a genuine scream.
Yeah, I almost ruined the freaking shot too. I was like, I had to be like, ooh,
ah. Yep, and it's even better knowing that shot actually is in the movie, knowing that I kept that in the movie. So yeah, that was great.
Get back on your feet.
Get back on your feet. Okay. But yeah, oh my God, I remember when we filmed that. It was right after I just worked a 12-hour shift at the hospital, so I was already tired. But I was like, you know what? It's the only time I have to get it done. Go and get it done.
Yeah.
And then
and I think
heck, even my things that piss me off movies like are spoofs. But I feel like that it does it in so much.
It's roughly mostly going through the genre pieces of essentially I would say it's more of a parody on the genre of the Chosen One genre shows or whatever. Like the You're the Chosen One is like Why me? Because
Yeah,
the prophets say so. What prophets? The screenplay.
yeah, and what I wanted for the second movie, I was wanting it to be a parody, like, of all these conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, there was one conspiracy theory about how birds are fake, which was supposed to just be satire, but there were people who actually took it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so then I thought it would be funny if I made a conspiracy about how the reason why fast food workers like are so incompetent. So
There was one that we talked about on Dylan's TikTok or something like that about the moon being the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs or whatever. Because the whole thing about the moon landing being fake, one of the things that they show is that there's a random C on one of the rocks or whatever. And basically the way that we made it was the C stands for clone or whatever, because the moon is currently the clone replica of the real moon. And it's like, what happened to the real moon? The original moon, was the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs.
I've never heard that.
We made it up on the spot.
Oh,
Yeah. There's one of our TikToks we made.
It was
now
like
I will laugh.
sort of our X Factor type TikTok things that was made back in the day.
I will laugh so hard is if people actually take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, you know about the urban legend, the whole thing about 8 spiders crawl in your mouth or whatever when you sleep or something.
Yeah.
From what I've learned, that was made up by a guy who made it up to prove that to basically see how many people would believe in that if he made that up.
Wow, I
Like
had no idea.
Like I read somewhere that a guy actually admitted he was the one that made up the spiders crawling in your mouth conspiracy theory, because he wanted to see how many people how many people would believe in that theory.
And yeah, and people believe this so much that I actually remember being taught that when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. There was one that I actually remember Dylan and I tested about the Pop Rocks and Soda challenge or whatever to see if they would actually blow out our stomachs. And so we swallowed the Pop Rocks and poured soda down there to see if they would actually blow out our stomachs, and nothing happened.
Wow.
And so someone actually asked, what will happen if it actually worked or whatever? And it's like, well, our parents will warn us and we'll clarify that it's true.
Wow. Wow. I just don't know what to say to all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to spoofs, I feel like the Fast and the Furious franchise at this point, it really has become a spoof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like they're getting a little bit like more out there with their ideas for sure.
Oh, definitely. Like Junebug even joked about having the Fast and the Furious like take place in hell, like with cars racing in hell. At this point, since that they had a car go into space, at this point, I honestly would not be shocked if they pulled.
Yeah, for me, when they went to space, I was like, well, they can do anything at this point. Next, they're gonna go underwater.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, usually when a franchise goes to space, that's pretty much where franchises go to die. Like, case in point, Friday the 13th with Jason X.
I mean, hell, they just had a giant ball destroy half of Rome, so.
Yeah.
And yeah, the car going to space and bringing back Hans, all these people who clearly died, breaking the laws of physics, like
bringing back Giselle.
Yeah, I remember that as soon as I was telling you that or whatever, and you were like, "Who?" And you were thinking it's like Giselle or whatever, and I was like, "Yeah," and you were like, "What? No bullshit! There's no
Yeah, I was
way!"
like, and
Yeah,
then
she clearly died.
I swear there's no way that in the 6th movie, with the way she fell off the back of the car,
Oh, they'll find a way to explain it.
at that speed, her falling back at that speed off the back of that car, falling onto her back on that runway, there's no way she would have lived. I'm sorry.
But they never found the body.
Yeah,
Or it was just a magic trick.
Uh,
Like they said in
I wouldn't
Fast
be
9,
surprised
they
if
brought back Hans.
actually ends up coming back. It's like, hey, I'm fine.
that's one
had
that
an
made
itch.
that's one that made me mad, is them killing off Jacob.
Like, I would not be surprised if they come back, even though it's like there's no fucking way.
That's one that made me mad, is because I was really starting to like John Cena's character.
And that's the thing, is that by bringing the characters back, there's no tension, because it's like, well, there's a chance they're going to bring them back anyway. So
Exactly. Like, that would be like saying, for argument's sakes, let's say in The Lion King, let's say if they made a Lion King 3, well, technically there is, okay, for argument's sakes, Lion King 4. Let's say that they brought back Mufasa, and then Mufasa's like, oh, I didn't actually die. It was just a magic trick or whatever. It would completely ruin.
I was in that basically he was like in a coma or something like that.
Yeah, in a coma or whatever. But the point is that it would ruin, like, it would completely ruin like Simba's character arc, and it would, and it would ruin the emotional impact of it.
Or here's a better one. When they brought back Palpatine for the last Star Wars film.
Yep, that was bullshit.
They basically, the whole thing, even though they will say that that it was like a clone or something like that, or whatever they used or whatever, the ultimate point was that by bringing back Sidious, that literally meant that Anakin's arc meant nothing at the end.
Exactly.
His redemption in Return of the Jedi was completely pointless because he was going to come back anyway.
Yeah,
Exactly. And when I saw Rise of Skywalker in theaters, that's exactly what was going through my mind. And I'm like, and there was no build up to him coming back in Force Awakens or in The Last Jedi.
But it's like, because Snoke was dead or whatever, had to scramble for something else or whatever, and they thought, whoa, let's bring him back or whatever, instead of like, it's like, I think bringing back Plagueis or something like that that's already been established but have never been seen, that could have been something that could have been cool.
Yeah.
Or heck,
or just have Kylo Ren just descend into full evil mode or whatever, because he killed his master, and so now he just has pure hatred. That could have been a better one, is having Kylo Ren just be the villain.
Right. They could have done that. And there even was one fan theory that I heard where like someone was saying like that Jar Jar Binks is going to take over as like the Sith Lord in Rise of Skywalker. That one is humorous, but at least that one would have been better. It's because at least there was Jar Jar Binks in the other movies.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it could have redeemed his character, like for people to take him more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly would have rather have seen that than to see Palpatine come back, because at least if they had Jar Jar Binks as the Sith Lord, at least that they want to have taken a dump on at least that they want to have taken a dump on Anakin's character arc.
Right, yeah. Oh, the video is coming up.
Do you want to watch this, Eric?
Yeah.
This is our video premiering.
Oh, and it's premiering now. Awesome.
Yeah. And this is, the 10 best Christmas movies.
Oh, there we go.
What's going on, guys? I'm Dylan.
And I'm Travis.
We're the 406 Boys back in with another video, and today is day 2 of 12 days of 406 Boys.
Ho, ho!
And today we have
the top Christmas movies, the ones that we like, and aka ones that we have seen that we liked at the moment.
Yeah, and keep in mind these are not in any particular order. We're just naming ones that these are just 10 of them that we really enjoy. So if you have any that you particularly enjoy or you agree with the ones we picked, comment down below. We'd really like to know what Christmas movies you enjoy. We'd really like to know. So without further ado, here we go.
The first one is going to be Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Yep.
I really just like how Tim Burton just basically kind of just did his own thing.
These are also ones we agreed on, so
Christmas, action, adventure, romance, kind of dark story.
yeah, definitely.
Michelle Pfeiffer is still the best Catwoman.
Yep.
Danny DeVito, even though not accurate to the comics, just did his own thing with the Penguin.
Yep.
And it's just thoroughly entertaining from beginning to end.
I agree.
Next one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Class.
The Boris
The
Karloff or
Jim
Jim
Carrey
Carrey?
one.
Oh, the Jim Carrey.
Yeah. This movie makes me laugh and also has some serious moments in it.
I actually do remember seeing this film when it came out in theaters.
Yep.
Though the only thing I can say is that it didn't necessarily age as well as I would like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Mainly, it does have a little bit of filler, and the Chuck Jones one is always going to be the best one.
Yeah.
And it's certainly better than the Illumination one.
Yeah, definitely.
But I enjoyed it for what it was. The makeup is really good for sure. Yeah, it's overall a harmless film.
I believe that
Also,
Rick
the last
Baker
thing
even
I'll
won
add,
the Oscar
Jim Carrey.
for best
Wow,
makeup.
he's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I
The
think
next
it
one's
did.
kind of a cult classic one.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
The Polar Express.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that
I
in a
do
long
know. I can understand why people like it. I enjoy it for what it is as well. The only thing is, I kind of feel like it shouldn't have been a CGI type.
I
deal,
agree.
especially since all the children have Tom Hanks's face on it,
Yeah.
and that's why they look kind of creepy. But honestly, I would like to see a live-action remake of this one.
Yeah.
Because I like the idea of the book. I read the book as a kid and would like to see a live action adaptation of it.
I agree. Next one is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. Travis.
Home Alone.
Classic.
This movie
Classic.
always made me laugh as a kid and still makes me laugh as an adult.
I haven't seen it
especially
in such a
what
long
happens
time.
to Harry
I know.
throughout the movie.
But still no Tim
Yeah,
Curry
and,
trying
did you
to
hear about,
speak an American accent.
I just thought of
inflation
something.
For the,
Maybe on one of our
I saw
channels.
that on Facebook.
Legally, we
recently.
can't because of copyright. I was
It
thinking
went
that
up. It went up from
we could
do
a live stream
$19.50 to,
watch along,
$72.
like of
in today's money.
Crazy.
Home
But
Alone.
overall, I think the
Yeah.
story of this movie is
We
good.
could do that if you guys
The message
want to.
of the movie is
Yeah,
good.
sure.
But yeah,
the
we just
sequel
can't
is
show the
fine.
footage
sequels
because of
past the
copyright.
second sequel are
Oh
not
yeah,
good.
true.
But
But
what we can do,
overall, this
it
movie
can
is
just
a
be us
Christmas
watching
classic,
it and
so.
just us.
The next
reacting
one
to it.
is A Nightmare Before
Yeah.
Christmas, which is
Classic,
actually
another
unique
classic.
because it also passes as
We
Halloween
go in to
movie
talk
and
about how it can be
Christmas
both a
movie.
Halloween
So it's kind of
movie
way
and
to
a
go.
Christmas movie.
Right, and
I saw it recently.
there's not
and
many
I
movies
was
where it
surprised
works
that I still
either
enjoy
way.
a vast
And
majority of it.
Someone was trying to tell me
It's
that the
memorable,
that the
too.
songs are not even that
Animation
good.
is good, and
What?
the
Come
story is
on!
unique. And my
Next
favorite
is
one,
actually
it's
tied
not
for my
original.
favorite Christmas movie of all time, and this movie I actually have to watch at least probably 5 or 10 times in the month of
Okay,
December.
I will
And I
ignore your
watch it
garbage
4
opinion
times
right there and just
every other
acknowledge
month.
that you're wrong.
And that is
Yep.
You'll
National
learn better.
Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I
Yes.
love this
Out
movie
of all
to
the
death,
vacation movies,
and I
that
don't know how
is
many
the
times I've seen
best
it, probably
one.
100+ times.
Literally in the month of December, I have to watch
Comedy in
this
movie is
like
hilarious.
probably 5 or
I
10
love
times.
this movie
Hey,
so
hey
much.
kids, look, a deer.
So much.
Hey kids, look at
There's
you.
Clark Griswold in this movie. Chevy Chase in this movie. Chevy Chase in all
Especially
the
that
National
part where
Lampoon
they're
movies
about
are
to say
awesome, but
grace,
in
and
this
then
movie
the grandma
specifically, this is
says,
the
"I
best
pledge allegiance
vacation
to the
movie there
flag."
is, and it is an awesome
The thing is,
Christmas movie.
the funny thing is
And if
that
you
that
haven't
grandma is
seen
the
it,
original Betty Boop.
One, I won't say
She
it.
is?
You need to go
Yep.
see it.
And
You need to see
that
it.
was one of her last
Please
roles.
see it. Next one
Wow.
is a little bit controversial, but I'll let
Praise.
Travis say it.
Controversial.
Christ.
Die Hard, yeah.
30 years
There is
ago.
debate if it's a Christmas movie. I say that it totally is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's one group that believes that it is a Christmas movie, and then there are people that are wrong.
And there are those who are wrong.
Because they reference it all the time. It's set on Christmas, and it has sort of a Christmas feel to it.
She
Now,
died 30
there's
years
some where
ago.
They want you
I
to
won't
say
get too much
grace.
into it, but what I enjoy
It
about
may
it
be
is
one
the fact that it's
lines.
intense from
I
beginning to
pledge
end.
allegiance to
And
the flag.
but the action feels real. Like it, there's some.
And then the
relief
cat
scenes, but,
just
it is
perishes.
an intense
They killed the
film from
cat!
beginning to end, and it's thoroughly entertaining.
This is the other movie that's tied.
Yeah,
for
this
my,
is the other movie that's
favorite
tied for my
Christmas
number
movie of
or
all
my
time, where I've
second
watched this
favorite
movie
Christmas
over 100
movie.
times as well. It's Elf. Will Ferrell in this
Yes,
movie is
classic.
hilarious.
Oh yeah, in the TV
Just the
version they
fact that
cut
he's
out the
basically a
shower
child
scene.
and
Oh yeah, that's
plays
When
right.
it's a
into his
pretty important scene.
personality as
Yeah.
an
Because
actor,
they
and
viewed
I
it as
love him in this
problematic.
role.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and again, if you haven't seen this movie, which I don't know who hasn't.
Interesting. I heard that
I remember we saw
Jim
it, like,
Carrey was the
I
original
know,
choice.
and I was a kid
Yeah,
back then, and I
that would've
loved
been
it back
interesting,
then, and
too.
I've loved it ever since.
It would have,
At the
but
end of the
I
day,
think the Will
it's
Ferrell
not-
was the right
And I
choice.
watched it a million times, probably.
Dad!
In the summer, I've watched this movie, and if you haven't seen it, please watch it. You won't regret it.
The next one is actually It's a Wonderful Life, which for a while
Classic.
was my favorite movie, but I think that may have been taken over by Everything Everywhere All at Once at this point. But this is actually still a really great movie, with a really, really strong message behind it about
Oh, definitely.
just to accept, just basically to love yourself, essentially is how I say it. That everything happens for a reason, but which some could take it the wrong way, but it's still basically no matter how bad your life gets, there are some good things that do come out of it, and will eventually work out in the end, which is why I kind of resonated a little bit with me. The last one is sort of the GOAT of Christmas stories for most people.
Yeah.
And the Christmas Story. I really do like A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily entirely plot driven. It's kind of a slice of life type movie, I would say. Basically a good way of people that probably lived in that time and going like, oh, I remember that. I always see it as a sort of a movie scrapbook for people that lived in that time. And I haven't seen the sequel that came out about
I have.
a year ago now.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel yet, so.
But I'm sure it might.
Is it
have
good?
Some stuff
It's
like
good,
that.
but
Kind
I
of-
won't go as far as
Christmas
saying,
Vacation
"Oh my
is
God,
also
it's one of the
another
best
where people
movies
that probably
of
grew up in
the
that
whole entire."
era
Yeah.
probably is like, oh
Oh yeah, no, I'm also talking about the second sequel
So
that
those
came
were
out.
our 10.
Yeah,
Christmas
I
movies
guess it depends on
we
what
like
sequel
or
you're talking.
remember.
Yeah, I forget what they call it.
If you have, again,
I do know that
Christmas
the
movies you like or remember, comment them down below. We'd love to hear them or talk about them with you in the comments.
I thought of
we'd
an
love to get to know you guys, and
And I know that there's a bunch of Christmas movies we didn't get to, but the thing is, I
You
think
two
there
could
are
talk
so
about
many, and we
Christmas
tried to narrow
horror
them down as
films.
much as
There
possible.
are a ton of those
So
out there,
comment
like
them
Better
down
Watch
below. We'll
Out,
respond to them.
Silent Night,
We'll
Deadly
interact with you guys.
Night. There are a
If you
ton of
like
those
this video
out
and you
there.
want to see more videos like this video, hit that subscribe
Yeah,
button,
definitely.
smash that like button, turn on notifications.
I mean,
and get
heck,
notified when we
even
upload
the
a new
third
video.
Terrifier
I'm
movie
done.
was
More for
revealed
boys.
to
Happy
be a
holidays.
Christmas
See ya.
horror film.
A Christmas Story Christmas. That's the name of the one that came out last year.
Okay. And I believe it only came out on like HBO Max.
Yes.
Yeah, and like they got Zach Ward back. They even got the original kid back, who's obviously much older now. So,
Oh, I forgot. There's one detail I did forget to mention in Christmas Story. The fact that the director of that film is the same director that directed the original Black Christmas.
yeah, so knowing that he directed 2 Christmas classics, one for more mature audiences and the other for a wider demographic. So,
and Black Christmas, I think, is one that's regarded as one of the first slasher films.
it is, yeah. Like it came out before Halloween, and from what I heard, I think I heard a rumor saying that Halloween was supposed to be like a sequel to it. But obviously they scrapped that and made it its own original thing, which I think it's better off for it to be its own original thing anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that would be a really cool idea, like as if you two did one about Christmas horror films.
That could be a good one.
Yeah, some of the Christmas horror movies I like. I definitely like the original Black Christmas. It's a classic. I also really like Silent Night, Deadly Night. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 even. Wow, yes, a lot of it is just footage of the original movie. But I swear to God, Eric Freeman gives one of the best, worst acting I have ever seen.
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day! Or Naughty This!
Hey, Eric.
Yeah?
What do you think of this? Hold on one sec.
Dude, that's sick.
I do remember that Silent Night, Deadly Night is infamous for being boycotted by parents.
Yes, it was. Like, it was released on the same day as the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and one of the reasons why I believe Paramount or TriStar released a movie was because they were wanting like their own horror franchise to cash in on. Since there was Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, they wanted to have their own horror franchise. But all these parents were complaining about Santa Claus being a killer in the movie. So it actually was pulled from theaters because of that. And what's hilarious, Mickey Rooney actually was one of the people who was protesting against it. But later on, he would be in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5. What a hypocrite. He was saying like about how awful it is to make a Christmas horror movie and have Santa Claus be the killer. But yet he showed up in part 5. So
yeah, I'd say that it's just largely just maybe just needed a paycheck for that one.
It's possible, yeah.
Especially since it's one that's just thinking, well, no one's gonna see it anyway.
Yeah, that probably could have been his reasoning for it. But yeah, so Travis, so with all that controversy about the original movie when it came out, what are your thoughts on it?
I would say I have a few issues with it. One being, why are you letting your children see these movies? If that, like, let's say that it's because the thing is, it's idiotic because it's like children should not even be seeing this movie. So why would you?
It's rated R.
Second of all, Santa's not even real, so why does it ultimately matter? Third, it's a guy dressed as Santa. It's not Santa. So it's proof that basically people saw Santa or whatever, didn't see the movie, assumed it was about a killer Santa. Because if you see the movie, it's not Santa. It's a guy dressed as him, and that's it. So it's and because of the fact that this was at the time where with the exception, slasher films were seen as like beneath them, essentially, as basically anything that was anything violent or whatever, like, oh, we don't like that. It just made it that easy for them to gain traction, where today people would laugh at them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And on top of that, Santa is in the public domain, so therefore people can do whatever they want with the character.
It's kind of like the in Halloween Kills when the petition was made about removing the firefighter scene.
God, that was ridiculous.
And it was basically one person that basically made it or whatever, because like, my father is a firefighter and I find it utterly disgusting that you're making a scene that's making a serial killer kill a bunch of firefighters who are meant to go and rescue people. And I feel that it's utterly disgusting that you're doing this. It's like, okay, so you're fine with Michael killing children, police officers, and basically everyone, but firefighters, that's where you draw the line, first of all.
And Michael Myers is so evil where he doesn't care if you're a firefighter or not.
Just the thing is that he's one of those ones where it's like he has no reason to kill, he just does it.
Yep, and I mean, heck, in the previous movie, the house was on fire, like with Michael Myers there. So it makes sense that firefighters would go there, thinking that they're going to save all the survivors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that scene where they think that they're saving somebody, but they actually saved Michael Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, plot-wise, it does make sense that why firefighters would be there.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't people also complain about something about the poster of X-Men Apocalypse with the villains strangling a girl?
I don't think I heard about that one. I'm not sure about that one.
I could have swore it was X-Men or like some sort of superhero movie, like where people were complaining about how the villain was strangling a girl, like on like the poster, and people were complaining about that, saying that, oh, you're saying that you're anti-women.
Yeah, I might have heard something like that. The only thing that I've heard about that is when movies would like use the woman in the fridge trope. But that's about it.
Okay.
Which explaining that to someone recently was actually fun because I remember Godzilla -1 was accused of fridging.
It was?
There was basically someone made a review basically saying it's great, check it out or whatever, and then one commenter was like, aren't you aware that this movie is promoting fridging, the woman in the fridge trope? Because the man is only motivated to kill Godzilla after the woman gets hurt.
Wow.
And when it's like one, that's not even the case because the guy was going through sort of his own arc to begin with or whatever to essentially not be a coward anymore, essentially. So that's basically something he's been dealing with throughout the entire movie. Sure, that incident may have pushed it even forward, but at that point, he felt that he had nothing else to live for.
Wow. I never heard of somebody trying to criticize Godzilla -1 for that. And I guess I'm not surprised. It seems like that some people just try to look for conflict in things.
Yeah. That's the main thing, is that people look for things to do that with. For example, there was one where someone was trying to show Elf as being problematic because of the Peter Dinklage cameo, and basically saying the whole thing of, oh, every time they put a little person in there, it's just to laugh at them, without giving the context that the joke in that is the fact that Buddy essentially grew up in the North Pole, and he was surrounded by elves or whatever, and does not know any better that there are people that are actually shorter like that, and has no self-awareness, essentially. The joke is the fact that he doesn't understand. And he just doesn't get it. It's like Ace Ventura, that's another one. The whole thing of the transphobe thing, when it's like, the joke is not saying that trans people are icky. It is the fact that he thought that it was, first off, the person is not even trans. It's someone dressed as a woman to fool authorities. That's it. But the joke in question is like, okay, I get what you're saying, but the joke is that it's a straight guy who is tricked into thinking that, and the fact that his reaction was that way is the joke, because it is so over the top that basically it's like, that is how straight people would react in that situation. It's not saying they're bad. And I even had someone go like, so what you're saying is this. It's like, no, I am not at all saying that.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, so what you're saying is that people who vomit at that is funny because it's a trans person. It's not. He's not trans.
Yeah, he's not trans. Like, at most, he would be like a transvestite.
Yeah, and that's not the same thing. It is.
Yeah, it's not at all.
Like, just because it's like the whole thing when the whole thing with Psycho or whatever, it's like, it is villainizing trans people, and it's like, Norman Bates is not transgender. He is just so far gone, he honestly believes that he is his mother. His mother is another personality of him. He is not transgender. It's just another character that he's playing.
So it's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
But yeah,
his mother's essential personality and soul, essentially, transferred into him or whatever. And because he is far gone, he honestly believes that he is also his mother. So he dresses as his mother whenever his mother takes over. That's not the same thing as being transgender. If anything, someone saying that it's against trans or whatever, it's like, okay, so you're saying that anyone who dresses as someone who's a different gender, they're trans or whatever. If anything, that's transphobic, if anything, because it's associating, because it's a wide spectrum that they all have different variants on them, and they're not all the same.
Yeah. They're not at all.
But yeah, again, it's like that whole thing of just people will just go and reach for things that are a problem. Like, they will, even if it makes no sense, like, you can make anything and twist it in a way where you can make it anything a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Like, heck, even when I first released the trailer for Rise of the JWs, there were people accusing me of being anti-Semitic.
Why is that? What?
I don't know why. Maybe with the Jehovah's Witness thing, but I'm like, people, you haven't even seen the movie. And when you actually watch the movie, it's not anti-Semitic in the slightest.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're mean to tell me that a movie about Jehovah's Witnesses organizing a conspiracy to mess up people's fast food orders is being anti-Semitic? Come on.
Is it because of the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses make money or whatever? Because if anything, you're raising that stereotype that people who are Jewish are greedy or whatever. So if anything, them making that argument makes them ironically anti-Semitic as well, because they're raising that stereotype of the fact that all they want is money. And even then, again, that is a far reach. Like at the point where it's like congratulations, you've been cast as the new Mr. Fantastic, because that's the hardest reach I've ever seen, if that is the case.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it's like, okay, do you even know what that word is? Because
I don't. Yeah. I truly feel like that a lot of people don't even know what that word even means.
Yeah. There are things where it's like, oh, here's a word that's used to used negatively against this person. I'm going to use that word. Okay, that is not at all what that word means.
Yeah, like heck, even while making the third movie, there were people who thought that the whole message of the movie is like being anti, like saying, just say whatever you want, and that the whole message is to not include like different people onto one. I'm like, no. That's not even close to what the movie is about.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's absurd, like how people will look for things to complain about. And what's funny, oftentimes people will criticize horror movies, well, like for creating violent people. I'm like, okay, so by that same logic, when you see somebody in a movie doing something wrong, so by that logic, you should blame the Grinch, like for why people break into people's houses. It's that exact same logic.
I think the main thing, and a lot of people are not going to like this, but there is absolutely no proof whatsoever that violent movies, music, or video games make violent people. If anything, if someone is willing to do something because a book or a movie told them to do that, they were long gone before they saw that movie.
They were, and correlation doesn't equal causation. Just because that they happen to have watched Scream or whatever violent movie doesn't mean that it was the cause. A really good example, like say with the whole correlation doesn't equal causation. Let's say for argument's sake, I were to drive a red car and I never get into a wreck. So I'm like, okay, because I never got into a wreck, that must mean that red is my good luck charm. No, you didn't get into a wreck because you're driving a red car. The reason why you didn't get into a wreck is because either you're a good driver or the other people driving around you were not driving like complete and utter maniacs.
Mm-hmm. And there is actually a myth that I have heard where they say that red cars are less likely to get in an accident and are more likely to be pulled over by a police car than any other color car.
That is so not true. That's so not true. It's because I've had red cars before and they got damaged by hail or by some other jackass like driving like a lunatic. So I know that that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the slightest. And with the whole violent movies creating violent people, I've seen some of the most violent movies ever made. Do you see me going out killing people? Nope.
If anything, you take Japan, for instance. They are more obsessed with video games, and their censorship is really not as strict as we are. Yet, they have one of the lowest crime rates in the world. Like, I believe there was one where they only had one gun-related violence in a year. So, obviously, the issue is how we handle things rather than or how other nations handle things rather than a violent thing happens in a movie.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And I get so sick and tired of that argument. Like, even one of the guys who was in Halloween 3 said in Halloween 25 Years of Terror, like, yeah, it may not make one person violent, but it may make someone else violent. And I'm like, okay, even if it made someone else violent, it doesn't automatically mean it's going to do it for everyone. It just means that that person was a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And again, correlation does not equal causation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just find it really ironic how he said that while when he was in the third Halloween movie. And that one's pretty violent. I mean, heck, that movie has balls because they actually show kids getting killed.
Yeah, for sure.
And I find that so funny how most people watch a movie, they have no issue watching adults die or teenagers die. But when you kill a kid, like, oh no, kids, like, oh, killing adults and teenagers is fine, but kids, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's because of the whole innocence or whatever, and a lot of people don't like people that are quote unquote innocent or whatever being killed off or whatever. But even then, yeah, I think that there should be usually no exceptions or whatever. I can see sort of the like a dog or something like that, but I have seen some really nasty kids. Like there was some that were actually across our yard that were the worst things imaginable.
Yeah, like heck, back in 2015, I saw that there were these kids who were throwing rocks and like snowballs at people's cars while they were driving.
Like there was a group of kids from across our house that were like antagonizing our dogs or whatever and throwing things at our dogs or whatever. And whenever we would confront them or whatever, the parents would get upset, and then we tell them to knock it off. Don't tell me how to raise my children.
Maybe we wouldn't have to do that if you would be a better parent. So, anyways, I see that Antony commented in the live.
Oh, okay.
He can join. Would it be okay if he joined?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, I have him as a friend on Facebook, so I can send him.
I might have to leave. I might have to leave some so that I can at least get the dogs out.
All right, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, that is totally fine.
Yeah. All right. Because it's been a while since they've been out.
Okay.
Do you need me to bring back anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a message.
Okay.
My keys are on the. You can lock the door on your way out. Okay. I'll send you a message. So what's the restaurant you're talking about that's your favorite restaurant?
Oh yeah.
What type of restaurant is it?
It is an all-you-can-eat Chinese.
Oh,
buffet.
I love those restaurants.
Oh, dude! Next time you and your family come to Billings, we all need to make it a game plan, like for all of us to go there. I love it there. Yeah, their food is fantastic. Matter of fact, even talking about it now, it even tempts me like to go eat there.
Greetings from Sydney,
Hi.
you guys.
What's up, man?
Currently in Sydney, Australia, spending the holidays.
Awesome. Are you there to see family?
Pretty much, yeah.
Awesome, man.
Consider my family.
Awesome, man.
I just sent you a link to your little birthday gift if you saw it on YouTube.
Yeah, so I saw that you posted the video, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. It's because I'm here. But yeah, as soon as it's over, I definitely will check it out. And yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, you may or may not have heard our previous conversation. We were just talking about how people say that violent movies are the reason for violent people. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, that is so painfully reductive.
It is. I get so sick and tired of hearing it. Like, by that same logic, you should blame the Grinch as to why people go break into people's houses.
I guess that's also that same logic during the rise of the Power Rangers from the 90s.
I remember that.
So many reasons why people say, "Oh, Power Rangers makes kids violent and react violently," as opposed to Barney or all these edutainment shows that teach pro-social values. Come on, Power Rangers also teaches pro-social values, but it's just that you back it up with martial arts action to show that self-defense is absolutely necessary.
It is.
I mean,
Like heck, it's even in the theme song. They only use their weapons for self-defense, and even Zordon even said that in the show itself.
clearly these parents were just not watching the same show as we did.
Clearly not.
They were trying to find a way to project their own insecurities onto, either onto the network or just come up with whatever baloney reason there is. I mean, you wonder why there were many downgrades that happened. I mean, Lord Zed going from this wonderfully intimidating and absolutely terrifying villain who's the anti-Rita Repulsa into becoming Rita Repulsa's husband just because he was too scary. Come on, Lord Zed was cool and he was meant to be scary. If you read a lot of the Grimm's fairy tales when you were kids, you'd realize that the villains there were just horrible. Or read any of the fairy tales that you've grown up with, you'll realize that a lot of these villains were horrible people, absolutely atrocious comes to the earth. And Lord Zed is meant to be not only scary, but also freaking cool. And let's also not forget about the malarkey that was, since we're in the holiday season, I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. I mean, seriously, a snowball fight, that's one element about that Christmas special that I still have a bug up my ass about. Why not use your martial arts skills to fight off against Goldar and Rita Revolta from, invading the North Pole?
Oh yeah.
And another thing. Spinning tops that hypnotize children into becoming naughty and making Lord Zed his slaves. Lame. Just absolutely lame.
That is lame.
And you wonder why I have a very contentious relationship with I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. And it's also kind of saying something that a lot of the Saban era Christmas specials from these action shows happen to be pretty underwhelming.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Or heck, by that same logic, you should blame, like, say, the show Friends, like, as to why that some relationships may not last. It's that same logic,
yeah. Although,
or heck,
honestly,
or say that you're gonna blame Batman as to why that some parents get shot.
Exactly.
Hey Eric.
Yeah.
We have a quick little ad break. You ready?
Okay.
All right.
I'm curious.
You wanna know what really pisses me off?
And we're back.
And we're back. Yeah. Well, that was quick.
Wait,
yeah,
wait, we're getting a call from someone. Hold on.
Simba.
Right here, right now.
Oh yeah, and Lion King. Like, so what? Are we going to blame the Lion King? Like as to why family members will betray each other now?
Yeah.
Man. That's absolutely baloney. But also, speaking of underwhelming Saban era holiday specials, I mean, seriously, I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger, while mildly entertaining and rather consistent, like I said, was underwhelming in its climax. A snowball fight. Are you kidding me? A snowball fight.
That's
Just
lame.
because these parents probably wanted their kids to have a lot more edutainment values in their shows. Look, if I rewrote that episode, you know what I would have done? If you wanted an unmorph fight sequence, go all out. Go all out just like its predecessor, Dairenja. I know that season 3 did use a lot more Kakurenja footage, but there was a moment in Dairenja in which the 5 main rangers were about to fight unmorphed. And that was pretty cool. You could have had Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Billy, Aisha, and Kimberly put out some punches, kicks, flips, grapples, whatever, against Rita Revolto and Goldar, and have the elves be just as combative as they are, and surprisingly combative. Why resort to a Home Alone style trap, let alone a snowball fight that just lacks any sort of tension, lacks any sort of build up? Why?
Yeah, now look, I get it that I am Dreaming of a White Ranger. I get it that it's the Christmas special, so I get it for why that the snowball fight might be relevant for that. But it's still so like what would have been fine, say, if after they defeat the villain, you then see the heroes like say that they celebrate them defeating the villain, well, like by doing that.
Oh yeah.
And now doing it that way would have been fine. But really, do you really think that a snowball fight is gonna take down like a villain? Like that would be like saying that if someone's gonna try to break into your house, are you just gonna throw snowballs at them?
No.
No.
Yeah. I think they were also trying to take a few clips from Home Alone, but that film worked because there was tension. There
Yeah.
was physical, what I would call physical reaction. Seriously. I think I could kind of blame the overly conservative parents for dumbing down Lord Zed and for making that scene happen.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
oh yeah, the spinning tops to hypnotize kids into becoming that's not only lame, but you think that Saban and crew would have enough money to make their own, if they can make their own American only fight scenes, then why not have an American only Christmas monster?
Oh,
I
definitely.
proposed that the Krampus could have and should have been very useful. Not to mention Becky, the kid character of the week. Well, she was a decent character in her own right. She had her own little character arc of feeling like her dad's not going to make it to see her sing in the Christmas pageant and feels very lonely. But you could have made her a bit of, you could have had her have more of a presence by making her a kid victim, like have her be kidnapped by the Krampus monster. And this was a perfect opportunity to have a monster terrorize the children of Angel Grove.
Oh yeah.
Why
And
didn't they think of that? Oh, is it because it was rehashing elements from Zurenja? Come on. That was part of the formula and that worked.
yeah, and I believe the same thing happened when they made the original TMNT movie back in 1990, I believe. Like parents were complaining that that was too violent, and so then for Secret of the Ooze, they significantly toned it down as to where the turtles don't even use their weapons. Instead, like they use like I believe like toys and all that or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're ninja turtles. They are going to use ninja weapons like to defend themselves with. Like,
yeah. Don't forget that Ninja, and I kind of did a little bit of research on Ninja. You kind of realize that they're damn brutal with what they do with tactics, what they do with, you know, with subduing their enemies. They'll do anything and everything they can to like overcome them, even with the slightest amount of force. So, and of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Thank God for people like Fabio, aka the Italian Stallion 51. He mentioned that the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics, they were not really meant for kids. In fact, they were for a more slightly mature audience.
Mm-hmm. We definitely could. But
And
yeah,
I think,
so
yeah. And another thing, I think the only reason why the cartoon was made, especially considering that it was 1987, it was to appeal to the children and hopefully have it sell more toys. Because when you think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you think, oh, animals. And they look kind of, cool. It'd be nice for the kids.
I don't know where Eric went.
Yeah. I think he got disconnected.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
He'll probably come back.
Yeah.
Hey, Ghost Rider.
hey, so I was trying to check the comments, but I guess I accidentally pushed the leave button. So
Hey,
hey,
Eric,
Ghost
look
Rider.
who's here.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ghost Rider.
Yo,
How's
Ghost
it
Rider.
going, man?
Hey,
yeah.
and Tony, guess what I got yesterday in the mail?
What's up?
Yes.
Oh,
That is sick, dude. I'll be right back.
Matthew Lillard.
Here's
Yep,
some
and
info, Dylan,
here in
and I.
a little bit, probably actually like 3:30, there's a unboxing.
Hooray, Eric.
But yeah,
Hooray.
this is what me and Dylan both have in common, is that we both have an autograph from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, picture for you, and he signed a Ghostface mask for me.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and so I
Good,
have the
right?
unboxing video premiering at 3:30 on our channel. So
That's awesome, dude. Excuse me, but yeah, I swear this year was like the year for me, like where I really expanded upon my autograph collection. Like I got one from Tobin Bell. When I posted that on my Facebook exploded, and people were calling me like, "How'd you get the autograph from Tobin Bell?" And yeah, I from Tobin Bell, Matthew. Yeah, Matthew. I got the autograph from Andy Manichak, who was in Halloween 2018 Kills and Ends. Got the autograph from Heather Langenkamp. I got the autograph, oh man, from so many people. Like,
hey, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you know what my favorite autograph I have is?
Is it? It's either the one from the Friends cast or Scout.
Yeah, it's the one from. It's the Friends script.
Yeah, and knowing that you got two of them. But yeah, Ghost Rider, you wish me a happy birthday. Thank you so much. But yeah, Ghost Rider, I totally get that you will miss my old name on YouTube. It feels weird for me because I was Eric Vierthaler 92 on YouTube for nearly 15 years. I get it, but I decided to change my name because since I am having so much success with like pursuing a film career, I thought that, hey, I should change my name on YouTube to something that sounds more professional. So yeah, and so basically to make myself clear, the channel remains the exact same, the videos are the exact same, things that piss me off remains the exact same. The only thing that changed is my name.
Right on.
And yeah, and look, I get it. The name change is weird as hell. I mean, it's weird for me too, because that was the name I had for the longest time. But
indeed.
But yeah, but Vierthaler Studios sounds a lot more professional than Eric Vierthaler 92. So, but yeah, it's gonna take some getting used to on my end too. So, so yeah, and I mean, heck, this year also was a big year for for my channel because I had hit after hit on my YouTube channel, and this year I reached 2,000 subs.
I saw, man. I saw it.
Yeah,
That's
and
More
awesome.
specifically, 2,150 subs. Pretty much.
Yeah, around there. And yeah, I mean, if I keep on doing this whole thing like with public domain movies, I probably will reach 3,000 subs next year. And I know that I did upload a few random videos here and there, like of like how to get infinite lives in Mario. The reason why that I did those videos was more of like an experiment. I was trying to experiment. Okay, what is going to get me views and what will not get me views? So
Yeah.
so
yeah, and like,
So, yeah.
and Tony, in the last 4 days, Travis and I have gone from 64 subscribers to 95 subscribers. So
Right on.
yeah, so we're 5 away from 100, which we're gonna do something special when we get over 100. So
That's amazing. And
Anyway, yeah. Okay, you first, Eric.
okay, yeah. And so what I have planned to celebrate 2,000 subscribers is that I want to do a 2,000 subscriber special. I was thinking, okay, since I reached to that number because of the public domain, me and the 406 boys wanted to have it be something about the public domain. So we talked about doing a talk show or something, or I had the idea of like a mini movie, but hey, a talk show works. So yeah. Will I do a pissed off video about Lion King 2 remake? I technically already did it was before that they announced the title with my Lion King sequel prequel rant. It actually marked the return of Genie. I did that in very late 2020. It was the first time that I saw the Genie come back, so I technically already did. But knowing that I ranted on the 2019 remake, my fans probably are gonna want me to see the prequel, whatever it is. So I guess if a fan paid me money to go see it, fine. But I really hated the 2019 remake. I really hated it. I mean, you have to keep in mind the original movie has a special place in my heart. You know, like it was a big part of my childhood, and even for personal reasons. I mean, heck, I named my own dog Simba.
Yes.
And so that says how much that I absolutely love the original movie. And if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. So So yeah,
By the way,
there probably will be enough demand on my channel, especially considering that my 2019 Lion King rant is one of my most popular videos. So yeah, I imagine a rant on the sequel, prequel, whatever it is. I know it's called Mufasa: The Lion King. From what I heard, it's about Mufasa and Scar's relationship before the events of the first movie. It sounds cool. It does sound cool, but I would rather see that as a prequel to the original film. So at least it's not a beat for beat remake this time, but
yeah. It would have been cooler if it were animated, though.
Exactly. Well, it technically is because all the lions, even though they look photorealistic, they are animated still. So technically it is, but I do understand that when you say animated, more so of the animation in the style of the original film.
Yeah, the olden days.
Yeah, with 2D animation.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure that you'll enjoy this video that I uploaded. It's basically me ranking the 9 Saban seasons using the Blue Ranger my Blue Ranger morph attempt. So I'll leave it in the private chat.
Okay. Oh yeah, so Antony, so you're definitely a big fan of Power Rangers. I am pretty sure that you do know that there's that Power Rangers convention, the Power Morphicon.
Power Morphicon, yeah.
Have you ever thought about attending that?
I've been wanting to for quite some time, but I think academic obligations and thinking about flying to any of the Morphicon conventions, well, it kind of like I said, I've been thinking about it for quite some time, but academic obligations have been taking over. But
Makes sense.
I have, but I have been thinking. I've kind of been thinking about it. I mean, mind you, my resurgence of Power Rangers started with rewatching, or what, let alone reviewing or making a look back video of "I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger,"
Uh-huh.
which um had which I caught on this channel known as Rinse Repeat, um, because of uh, of the cool Yule video from 1995 from the golden age of Fox Kids. So I caught it, and when I made my look back video on it, I I basically was a bit general on it until I started realizing, man, there were many things that I would have loved to fix about I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. And the 7 ways that I wanted it to be fixed was a video I did enjoy because I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. Yes, it was kind of fun. And yes, I know it was meant to be a breather episode, but when you have an underwhelming climax, that's when I start realizing, what's wrong with you? You're Power Rangers. Couldn't you have just used your martial arts moves?
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
and not to mention Zordon's whole baloney excuse of them not morphing to the North Pole because of this cross current of its unique polarity and a cross current of holiday magic. That is just total bollocks. Total bollocks and baloney. Like, as if to hide the fact that Saban was just being very cheap with what they were producing, even though they made a shit ton of money selling Power Rangers merchandise and having that film released.
Oh,
Reel
so
me that, Batman. Reel me that.
oh, Antony, I don't know if I showed you this before, but yeah. Oh, you're gonna get a kick out of this.
Okay.
This is somebody who I met in 2020, and I got his autograph.
Ooh, Master Steve Cardenas.
Yep, I met him in 2020, and yeah, he is the first and so far the only Power Ranger that I've met in person. I was so excited to meet him because when I was a kid, it was the red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger who was my favorite for 2 reasons. A, red has been my favorite color since I was a kid. And 2, his Zord was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that's been my favorite dinosaur since I was a kid. So I was like, oh my God, these 2 things mixed into one, and it's a superhero?
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. So yeah,
I mean, Rocky in theory, oh yes, definitely. But in terms of Rocky in theory, yes, he's handsome and he's charismatic and he can be impulsive. Okay, those are, and he's sufficiently heroic. Okay, fine, because Steve Cardenas is also a handsome dude in real life.
Oh yeah.
But I understand the flack that Rocky gets, and I understand where it's coming from because, when you fill in the Red Ranger's shoes, especially the standard that is set by Jason Lee Scott, played by our dear friend Austin St. John, you know that you're gonna fall up a creek if you don't fill in those shoes. And I think it's just not fair.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, to be fair, I totally get why Austin St. John, Yui Trang, I'm sorry if I mispronounced her name.
Tui.
Yeah, and why I get why Walter Jones left is because of they weren't being paid enough. So I totally get it. And so, but yeah, Power Rangers at that time was a non-union show. But yeah, I don't know if Power Rangers changed, to where it's now a union show. So
Difficult to tell because after Power Rangers RPM and when Saban brought it back, there were still non-union actors. I mean, remember Clash of the Red Rangers, that 44-minute TV movie where they brought back Scott from Power Rangers RPM?
Yeah.
And because Eka Darville, Eka Darville was a union actor, they couldn't use his real name, so he had to go by a pseudonym.
Well, I mean, legally, you got to do what you got to do. So yeah.
But also, Clash of the Red Rangers did represent something that was pretty underwhelming. I mean, you go from something that's so overwhelmingly awesome, like Power Rangers RPM, which was the last hurrah of the Disney era, and then you were devolved into something like Power Rangers Samurai, which was just so full of missed opportunities. Like I said, riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me that.
Yep.
I mean, you go from having all these complex and really interesting stories, and then you go back to trying to have to sell toys to the kids who are watching, and having all these missed opportunities for more growth, only to have the status quo just go back to where it should be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. So Dylan, so out of curiosity, were you ever a fan of Power Rangers when you were a kid?
Oh yeah. When I was, I want to say, like 4 or 5, I went as the Magna Defender when I was for Halloween one year.
Wow.
Because like that was at the time that was my favorite show or movie or whatever.
Yeah,
that was my
Power Rangers
favorite.
Lost Galaxy.
That was my favorite Ranger or whatever. That was my favorite character. So I went as him for Halloween one year. And then I really liked Power Rangers Space. I really liked that. It's a classic. I like that. You know, JDF, of course.
Yeah, Jason, David Frank.
Really resonated with me as a kid and growing up and stuff like that. So
yeah, and what's such a shame on my end, I could have had my chance to meet him because after he died, I found that there is like this retro toy store in my area who sells old school toys and old school video games and like VHS tapes. When I was talking to them, they said that they got really close to getting JDF in Billings in my area, like to sign autographs and take pictures. But obviously that got canceled because he died. And I was so upset. I was like, no, I wanted to meet him for so long and I almost had my chance.
So did I. I would have liked to meet him in person too, but even despite all of what was going on with him, but even then, like I keep telling myself, there's a reason why JDF was so well known. I mean, Tommy Oliver, as overrated as he was the very first Power Rangers character to have gone through this arc. It may not be the most subtle of arcs, but it showed him just growing from this new dude who could be just as strong and just as formidable as the alpha male Red Ranger leader, Jason, to realizing that he doesn't have to follow or be a pawn in Rita's command anymore. He could actually find the closeness of his friends and his allies to make him a better person. And he earned his stripes after his Green Ranger duties and came into his own, for better for worse, and even with some reception of his character. That's why JDF is also, I would even hail JDF as a sort of American Maverick of 90s, early 2000s pop culture.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Gotta keep in mind that the dude opened up his own karate schools at 18 and really, really invested time in teaching a new generation of fighters to stand up for themselves and defend themselves. And also lead by example.
There are so many kids out there like who will say that they got into karate because of Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, they got into martial arts because of the Power Rangers. Super Sentai may have been a hit in Japan, but I know that we've been giving flack to Haim Saban for being cheap and for having other questionable handling motives, merchandising motives, whatever. But if it were not for the 8 years of tried and failed testing the waters of getting the Power Rangers franchise out there, especially with what he was trying to do with Bioman, and then realizing that this whole formula from Zyurenja involving dinosaurs worked more effectively, then we would not have had Power Rangers.
Yep.
Eric.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's not forget about Margaret Loesch.
I'm getting a phone call. I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
What's going on?
Dylan said that he had a phone call, so
okay,
you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, even probably all the newer seasons of Power Rangers, you know, like there are probably like all these new generations of kids like who are saying that they're getting into karate because of Power Rangers. So
oh yeah.
And even maybe the same thing for the 2017 movie. Like people can say what they want about the 2017 movie, but hey, but at least it's keeping that legacy going.
Oh yeah. I was still kind of indifferent to the 2017 movie. Like, why Mighty Morphin? I get that Mighty Morphin is popular, and I still like it to this day. However, you know, there have been other better Power Rangers seasons. Lost Galaxy, In Space, and my number one personal favorite, Time Force.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah, business-wise, I get it. That's the season that people remember most. So that's why that they did a movie about that.
Maybe I'm just a sucker for quality or more underrated seasons because say what you will about Wild Force as well. I mean, I've always perceived Wild Force as, you know, the Power Rangers version of Captain Planet because of a cross current of Mighty Morphin's pop culture significance in the 90s, as well as Captain Planet's really unapologetic environmental messages. And you get Power Rangers Wild Force. Cool. In terms of Jindrex and Toxica, we get that in terms of Jindrex, he is what would happen if you combined Goldar, Finster, Babu, and Squat, and made him this composite character all rolled up in one. And of course, Toxica, she's essentially a younger, more sinuous Rita Repulsa, added in with a bit of Scorpina's youth, and you get Toxica. But they also have this banter akin to Bulk and Skull, so I could see why Power Rangers Wild Force just didn't really rise above legendary status because we've been familiar with all of these tropes since the 90s. And I get why, for some people, especially hardcore Power Rangers fans, I could see why Wild Force isn't that memorable to them because it came out after Time Force. Now, when you have a very overwhelming season like Time Force, you would expect a season following that to be just as overwhelming. For some people, Wild Force was rather underwhelming, and I can see why.
Yeah.
And for some people, Wild Force is just a good season. The only two attributes that made Wild Force as strong as it are the following team up episodes: Reinforcements from the Future, the Time Force Wild Force crossover, and of course, Forever Red.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah,
I mean,
so sorry. Ghost Rider asked if I've seen Thanksgiving. Yes, I have. I loved it. I definitely got a kick out of watching it in theaters. It was satisfying. I haven't done a review of it on my channel yet, but I am more than willing to. And Ghost Rider, I'm not really a cake person. I wasn't when I was a kid, and I'm just not really now. I mean, if people like cake, that's fine. The only sweets I like cinnamon rolls, Reese's Cups, Skittles. I guess I'm just not really much of like a sweets guy. I mean, every now and then I'll have waffles with the syrup, but other than that, I'm not really much of a sweets guy. Which actually, it might be better for me anyway, since that sweets aren't that very healthy for you.
So Eric.
Yeah.
That was my mom, and my mom said that Travis and I have to go out to my grandma's for some celebration for my brother's birthday.
Awesome.
Like that.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. So.
And are you gonna be doing that soon?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And and I'm getting pretty hungry, so I might go have
a me too. We're actually going out there to eat, so
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But and Tony, Travis appreciated your birthday message.
Aw.
So
I'm glad.
Yeah. So Eric, I'll keep you updated on everything that's on my channel and stuff like that. So
all right, man.
And
I am
also, by the way, the unboxing video should have just premiered on our channel. So if you want to go watch it, you can whenever you have free time. So
okay, yeah, totally. But yeah, makes me feel old knowing that I turned 21 10 years ago now. Holy
yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, and just to imagine how far that I've come ever since when I turned 21. I mean,
crazy. Yeah, I turned 21, let's see, 7 years ago. So I'm 28 now, so
you'll hit 30 in 2 years.
Yeah. I don't
Look,
even
I'm
want to think
okay being
about
31, man.
I don't want to think about it. But
I know how you feel, man, because
Me too. I feel you.
when I was 25, I was like, oh no, I'm going to be 30 in 5 years.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
Hey, at least I'm
just today I turned
starting this whole like grinding YouTube thing now, so that like I feel like I'm doing something with my life now.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You know, it's one of the reasons why that I've been happy that I've been having all this success. So I like with having a movie career, because now I'm like, yes, I'm actually making something of
Exactly.
It's because you know nobody wants to just waste their whole life away.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know, you only live once, and so I heard the brain doesn't start. Yeah, that's what I heard too. So
1 second, Eric.
Okay, but yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, I am definitely very proud of where I've come with my life. I mean, heck, even this year alone, like, has been huge for me. Like, getting a shot with SAG, working on movies, being in that play that I got cast in, and meeting all of these Hollywood connections. I mean, this has been a big year for me. And I'm like, what in the world is 2024 going to have in store? Like, probably by 2024, I finally will become a member of SAG. And when I do that, you can guarantee that I am going to do a celebration live stream, because on my end, for me to become a member of SAG, that is going to be huge.
And I know this is a big goal, but by January next year, I want Travis and I to reach 1,000 subs.
Well, as long as you continue doing what you're doing with the shorts and public domain movies, you probably will.
Yep. I wanted to say again, happy birthday to Eric.
Thank you so much.
Have a happy birthday, and Have a good celebration with your family when you celebrate with your family.
Thank you.
Have a good celebration with your friends. And again, happy birthday yesterday to Travis.
Uh-huh.
I want to say
Travis is how old now?
32. So,
Well, if it makes Travis feel any better, I thought that he was like 24.
yeah. Yeah, he's Ghost Rider asked another question.
Yeah, so Ghost Rider. So Screen Actors Guild is a pretty big deal. Like, if you want to work on big budget mainstream Hollywood movies, you have to be a member of SAG. So
Yes.
knowing that I have a shot with SAG is really huge on my end. I wish you could see the plays. Okay, so the last play that I was in actually was recorded. So as soon as I actually get that, I then can send you it. But yeah, so me being a part of SAG will be huge. I was forced to put it on hold because of all of the Hollywood strikes going on. But now that the strike is over, so okay, so there are union and there are non-union productions in Hollywood. The Screen Actors Guild is a union, meaning yes, you will have your union dues, but in the long run, it will be worth it. It's because that, say, if something goes wrong on set, if you're mistreated, if you're not getting paid enough, you then can report it to the Screen Actors Guild, and yeah, so yeah, and he says, be careful with Hollywood. Oh, I most definitely will, man. I will. But yeah, it's just, but it's just when I get into SAG, that will mean the chances of me becoming famous are going to be a lot higher. And the most common thing that I've heard this whole entire year, people constantly are telling me that I am going to become famous. And to be honest, seeing the direction that my life is heading, I'm not trying to be arrogant. I think the chances of that are going to be pretty high.
Right.
Yeah.
Considering all these connections that I now have in SAG, I think it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to say again for the last time, thank you, Eric, for joining, and then Tony,
of course.
Tony for joining. I hope you guys who were in here, Ghost Rider, Tony, thank you for joining Eric's birthday live stream celebration. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you later.
All right. See you later.
Yeah.